Open up your workbooks to page 195. Today we're doing lesson 14, which is just a part 2 to lesson 13 that we did yesterday. In both of these lessons we're comparing ratios. The difference between lesson 13 and lesson 14 is that in lesson 13 you could find two ratios on the tables and make a comparison between the two ratios that are on the tables. In lesson 14, the two ratios are not going to be on the table, but there will be a way to make a ratio that you can compare from another table, from the tables. All right, so let's get started. Number 1, flour mixtures. 2 restaurants use different flour mixtures in their pancake batter recipes. The ratio tables show the relationship between the number of cups of flour and the number of cups of tablespoons of salt in the mixture. Which restaurant's flour is saltier? Explain. So I look at the two tables and I don't see any ratios that are the same. But I look at restaurant A's bottom row and I see a 22 here, right? And then I know in restaurant B's top row for tablespoons of salt, there's an 11. And I know that I can multiply 11 by 2 and make it 22. So I can make an equivalent ratio on restaurant B's table by multiplying both parts by 2. That'll give me 22 tablespoons of salt, like I have here, 22 tablespoons of salt in restaurants A. So I'm just going to extend this table a little bit, and I'm going to multiply 11 by 2, and that's going to give me 22 tablespoons of salt. Then when I multiply 22 by 2, that ends up giving me 44 cups of flour. So then I can use this ratio and this ratio to make a comparison. So when I have 22 cups, or tablespoons, of salt in both recipes, restaurant A uses only 33 cups of flour, but restaurant B uses 44 cups of flour. So all of the flour from restaurant B's recipe dilutes the saltiness. So restaurant A's flour mixture is going to be saltier. Of course, you need to write this in complete sentences when you're answering them. But restaurant A's flour mixture is saltier than restaurant B's flour mixture because the 22 tablespoons of salt, for 22 tablespoons of salt, there are 33 cups of flour. At restaurant B, for 22 tablespoons of salt, there are 44 cups of flour. So all the flour in B cancels out some of the salt, so making restaurant A's flour saltier. All right, let's look at number 2. Beekeepers add sugar water to the diet of honeybees. In the spring, the sugar water mixture helps promote colony growth. In the fall, the sugar water mixture helps the bees survive. The ratio tables show the number of cups of water and the number of cups of sugar in the spring water mixture and in the fall sugar water mixture. Based on the tables, which sugar mixture is sweeter? Explain. All right, again, there's no ratio on the tables that are the same. No parts are the same, so we've got to make some of the parts the same. So if I take this 10 and I multiply it by 7, that'll give me 70 cups of water. Now I don't have a 70 on this side, but if I take the 7 and I multiply it by 10, I'll get 70 cups here. So I'll have 70 cups of water in both mixtures. Then to make the equivalent ratio, I just have to go to the other part of the ratio and do the same thing that I did to the first part. So where I multiplied this 10 by 7, I'm going to multiply this 15 by 7. And 7 times 15 is 105. And then right here, I multiplied this 7 by 10, so I'm going to multiply this 14 by 10 so that I can get the equivalent ratio of 14 times 10 is 140. To 70. So I can clearly see that the fall sugar water mixture is sweeter than the spring sugar water mixture. I used the ratios of the numbers from the first row of each table, 15 to 10 and 14 to 7, to find an equivalent ratio that both use 70 cups of water. So I made it so that they both had 70 cups of water just by making an equivalent ratio. For 70 cups of water, the spring sugar water mixture has 105 cups of sugar, and the fall sugar water mixture has 140 cups of sugar. And of course, when they have the same amount of water, the fall mixture has more sugar than the spring mixture. So that's why it's sweeter. Number 3, tiles. A flooring company offers 2 different designs that each use white square tiles and blue square tiles. All of the tiles are the same size. The ratio tables show the number of white tiles and the number of blue tiles needed for each design. So in floor design A, my first ratio on my table is 20 to 30. And of course, the second ratio on the table is doubled the first ratio. And then floor design B, my first ratio is 15 to 35. And then my second ratio is triple, 45 to 105. My first ratio on the table. So there's nothing on either one of these tables that are the same, so I'm going to make something that is the same. I'm going to make an equivalent ratio that's going to make me have the same number of white tiles. I'm going to take this 20 and I'm going to multiply it by 3. And that's going to give me 60. Because I know that 60 is a multiple of 15, all I have to do is multiply 15 times 4, and that's going to give me 60. So now I've got the number of white tiles both being 60, so I can go back and make an equivalent ratio to 20 to 30 by multiplying the 30 also by 3, and that's going to give me 90. So my ratio, an equivalent ratio for the number of white tiles to the number of blue tiles in floor design A is 60 to 90. Go back to B, make your equivalent ratio there by multiplying by 4. Because you multiplied 15 by 4 to get 60, you got to multiply 35 by 4, and that's going to give you 140. All right, so when both designs have 60 white tiles, floor design A has 90 blue tiles, and floor design B has 140 blue tiles. So floor design B should appear bluer than floor design A. Number 4, the same flooring company offers 2 different designs that each use gold square tiles and black square tiles. All of the tiles are the same size. The ratio table shows the number of gold tiles and the number of black tiles needed for each design. All right, so floor design Y, my ratio is 13 to 52. Floor design C, my ratio is 16 to 48. Well, I know that 52 is a multiple of 13. So I can divide 13 by 13 and get 1. So 13 over 52 divided by 13 over 13 will give me 1 over, and 52 divided by 13 is 4. So 1 over 4. Let me see if I can get a thicker pen if that'll help. So let me just down here write it. 13 over 52 is equal to 1 over 4. All right, now let's try and see what we can do with floor design Z. I know that 48 is a multiple of 16, so I can divide 16 and 48 by 16. And that's going to give me 1 over, because 16 divided by 16 is 1, and 48 divided by 16 is 3. So when floor design Y has 1 gold tile, it has 4 black tiles. And when floor design Z, for every 1 gold tile, they have 3 black tiles. So floor design Z is going to have less black tiles with the gold tiles, so it's going to look or appear more gold. All right, folks. Answer all your questions in complete sentences. And that's the end of the classwork for lesson 14.